Okay, we're at the Create Doughnut Polygon box in the flowchart. Now, a doughnut polygon is a term that I use to describe a polygon with a hole in the middle. It is going to provide us with a crisp edge to digitize our map against. Now, this digitizing example demonstrates what can happen in the absence of a doughnut polygon. Imagine this arrow here is pointing to an imaginary edge to our field area. Now, with that in mind, let's have a look at one digitizing scenario. In Polygon A, I've overshot and over-digitized the edge of the field area here. And in Polygon B, I've undershot and I've under-digitized the end of the field area here. So, any planning decisions made in this area here would be on the basis of an erroneous map. Now, a doughnut polygon that provides an edge for a digitizing area, especially an edge that's based on an official boundary, avoids this situation. Now, whether the errors are visible or invisible to the naked eye, in the end, such problems are unnecessary and make your digitizing look untidy and like you don't care. And of course, if your digitizing looks like you don't care, people start to question the quality of your work, and we don't want that. Let's create a doughnut polygon for our digitizing exercise. We'll follow the numbered items in the texts, but simplistically, there are three main tasks. Task 1 is steps 1 through 6. That's where we create a really large polygon that we can cut a hole out of. Task 2, which is steps 7 through 9, that's where we use the QGIS difference functionality to create a new GIS map that has a doughnut hole in it. Now, the hole will represent our field area. Task 3 is steps 10 through 15. Basically, we configure our working environment and we do a bit of housekeeping. Okay, now to the individual steps. Step 1 is to create this whopping great big polygon in our land use interpretation map so that we can cut a hole out of it. Now, I want you to have these three maps open: land use interpretation clip region, and land use interpretation rectified. Now, make land use interpretation editable. Click the Add Feature button and use your left mouse button to begin our whopping great big polygon. Click, 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 click. This is the polygon that is going to have a hole in it. Don't worry if it's not a perfect shape. It just needs to be bigger than the clip region polygon. Now, when we've done this, right-click to close the polygon. In step 4, in the dialog box that appears, enter an attribute. I could leave it as null, but I'm going to type in doughnut. It really doesn't matter because we're going to delete this polygon when we do our housekeeping at the end of this exercise anyhow. But it's probably good to put something in it just for practice. In step 5, click the Save Layer Edits button to save the file. Drag the land use interpretation map down so the clip region is on top. You can now see that there is a whopping great big polygon that forms a backdrop. We are now going to chop a hole out of this big polygon. Now make the land use interpretation clip region solid so that there is no mistaking that it is a solid polygon. In step 6, from the vector menu, go to the Geoprocessing Tools option and select the Difference option to launch the Difference dialog box. Now, in the Difference dialog, choose Land Use Interpretation as the input layer and Land Use Interpretation Clip region as the difference layer. Check the Add to Canvas box and call the output shapefile difference. The output will be a brand new shapefile with a doughnut hole in it. Okay. Click OK, and voila, in step 8, difference has a donut hole in it. Okay, so highlight the difference map in the layers area and then click on identify features. And what we can see here is that the difference map has inherited the land use column from the land use interpretation map. It even inherited that donut attribute that I entered. Okay, step 10. As a map to digitize into, difference is perfect in every way except really its name. So now we need to overwrite the land use interpretation map with our difference map. So we close land use interpretations so we don't get a file in use error. Okay, in step 11, click on difference, right click, save as, browse to find land use interpretation shapefile, highlight it, click yes to replace. Okay, now you can open land use interpretation shapefile. Right click to launch the layers property dialog box. Change the display style. Now change the display style in step 14 from solid to no brush and the color of the outline to be pink. Okay, so finally what we need to do is to clean up. There is nothing worse than a folder with a bunch of random files in it and you can't remember what they are. It can be unnecessarily confusing, distracting, and time-consuming to sort out later on. Now the idea is to clean as you go, okay? So highlight the difference map in the layers area and right-click to remove. Otherwise, when we go to delete it from the folder, it will have a conflict error. Windows will say, oh, this file's in use somewhere else and you can't delete it, okay? So in the Windows File Manager, click on the first difference you see and hold it. And when I say difference, the first file called difference, hold onto the Shift button, press the down arrow to highlight all 5 files. These 5 files relate to things like the database component of the shapefile, the projection information, the map information, and so forth. Okay, now right click and click delete in the menu that appears. You'll be presented with a dialog that says, are you sure you want to delete these files? And choose yes, and all the files will be deleted. And that's it. I will see you in the next video.